All right. I mean, actually, it's quite a good idea to answer some of these questions quickly. Does the master teacher talk about the blue avian and who they are? The master teacher has spoken about many, many, many extraterrestrials and many, many beings. However, not specifically about those. And this is one of the reasons we have to get him out, because there are still questions and things that we have that only he can really go into in great detail. So our efforts are to get him out so we can put our questions to him that no one else can answer. All right, so I hope that helps. Ether, I have a question about the you. For example, you have Nagar U, also with other races. I just want to know if the you is modern day and as in American, and what does it mean? Okay, the you is a plural. Like, the simplest way to describe it is like when you add an S to the end of a word. So Nagar will be singular, and then Nagaru is negroids as opposed to negroid, you see. So for example, if you wanted to say sister, you say Zamal Tat. If you wanted to say sisters, plural with an S, Zamal Tat U, you see. Or like, if you wanted to say a child, one child, you say Karad, yeah, Karad. If you want to say children, Karadu, you put the U at the end, so Karad U, Karadu. I mean, we don't kind of make it like Karad U, but we say it quickly, so it sounds like Karadu or Nagaru, but it is the plural of the singular word. Same if you want to say brother, you say Zamal, or depending on the type of brother, because you can have a blood brother and you can have a brother as in, you know, brotherhood or brotherly love, and a brother in that way. So you say Zamal for a brother that is not blood brother, as in immediate family. And then if you wanted to say brothers, you say Zamal U or Zamalu. Okay, that's giving you a lot of examples using the you, Ether. Hope that helps. I pray that helps. Okay. We're just warming up. So those are the questions so far. Then we've got another one from Son of Man. How is it that we speak differently? It's, I think when you say speak differently, I mean, there are levels to that. If you mean accents, then accents just develop based on where you are, and you move from one place to the next, and people have slightly different pronunciation. So, but originally we can go back to like, okay, scientifically, each individual is unique, and your body mass is unique. The way you're built, everything about you is unique. So you will slightly, when you're dealing with tones, vibration and frequencies, yours is going to constantly be slightly different to everybody else's. But it really comes by way of, if you think about who has taught you over the last 6,000 years, it's predominantly the Adamites, and they were not able to pronounce certain tones. So from place to place, it gets, so for example, if you're not able to use your throat, like when I was saying, I said karadu, but it's really karadu. You can hear that kind of like ha. And so if somebody couldn't say that, karadu, like, or al-kadir, sometimes you have to pronounce certain letters the way you use your throat, and your tongue has to be in a particular position. Now, if somebody couldn't say it like gr, 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 they can't say that. They will just say "g." So if you take a word like karadu, you might go. Somebody might just go karadu. Then that will be then passed on, and then it becomes like Chinese whispers. So from place to place, the word will change, or the pronunciation of the word will change, until you speak to the person who knows how to say it properly. So this is why in our language, Miss Batia, a lot of us are learning, and the master has said that it doesn't matter about the accuracy in terms of how it sounds. The main thing is to start using it, and over time he will correct us properly, and he does by way of people who are very studious in the language, you see. So then they will get the correct tone and then pass it on to others. But yeah, it changes from really people not knowing how to say certain words, and then the tone changes, and then eventually yeah, you just have people saying it differently. Waiting for the Leviathan 66 books. A lot of books will be coming out, you know, very, very soon. Already, as you know, we have the Potential and the Mind, famous books, yeah, available. So, and it's really, really important, if you have not got the Mind yet, that is one of the fundamental books to start with, because you have to be able to work with your mind so that it helps you with the actions you make or take, because your mind is what governs your actions. And unfortunately, a lot of people have been brain dirtied. I know you're probably familiar with the term brainwashed, but as Pana Babyanun, Dr. Malachi Z. York teaches us, when you wash something, you make it clean. So it's again technology to say brainwashed. It's the opposite, because they're telling you that if you're brainwashed, it means that someone is controlling your mind. But in that, what they're telling you is that to wash something is to make it clean. So if your brain is dirty with wrong information, misinformation, chaos, confusion, then to clean it would be to wash all that out. So your brain is dirty, so you need to wash it. So brainwash is a good thing to make it clean. Okay, so yeah, you need to clean that filth out of your mind, and then you can act and function properly. Theodore Kent, Rahul Bhatt, cool conversation, he says. Emmanuel, A online, Rahul Bhatt family, Rahul Bhatt. Life is a blessing. Oh wait, how is the weather in Cameroon? Okay, that's probably speaking to. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Is it Nfo? Nfo? But I'll go with Emmanuel. Yeah, I think that question is for you because you're in Cameroon. Wow, we've got so many people from around the world in the house. Cameroon in the house. How is the weather? Okay, life is a blessing. Greetings. Can you please explain to me why it is that each time a messenger is sent, it's a male and not a female? I find it strange that women were here first, yet the messengers are always men. True to a certain degree, but there are women in the scriptures. It's just that they get bypassed, or they don't give them as much prominence as the males. You got like women who changed the history of the world. You know, Esther, Mary, Miriam, Hagar, Hathor. There are many, but they just don't get the same airplay as the men. However, this is such a crucial question, because this time when Dr. York, Dr. Malachi Z.K. York, Pana Babyanun, was sent, his job is to bring that about. Like, it's the time of the sacred feminine. It's the time of the women. And when you saw him, like on Tamaray, he always had females around him, or the sacred feminine, because he was grooming and teaching them that for this day and time we're in. So his job has been to come along and bring the women to the forefront. And that's why the Gospel of Yanun on the Sacred Feminine is a book that he put out. He's the one that was telling everybody about the woman came first. So the scroll is God, female or male. He put that out. He's the one that's explaining that the woman was first, that the woman was here giving birth, you know, before men came along. He explained the whole thing about the mitochondrial DNA. He explained that the XX is superior to the XY. So if you see all the works and the things that he has done, he's actually put woman or the women back in their rightful place. You see, so, and it's not to say the woman is better than the man. It's just that she is in what she does as a sacred feminine, and the man is good at what he does, and they are, you know, they have to work together. We have to work together to bring the best out. But in religion and in other organizations, they suppress the woman. They put the woman down. They say, you know, the woman must walk behind, or the woman must be covered up, and, you know what I mean, really women can't speak up front as imams and so on and so forth. So Wu-Sabat was actually liberating the woman by saying, look, no, you're the sacred feminine. You have a perfect matrix. You know, you're the one that was here first. You birthed male and female on this planet. You know, you have the mitochondrial DNA that is passed from you to your daughter, and only from female to female offspring. So if you really look at the doctrine of Wu-Sabat, it actually puts the woman first. And in ancient times, male and female, when I say ancient times, I'm talking about in Tamaray, or people like to say Kemet, or ancient Egypt, you saw the rulership of male and female together side by side. In fact, it was a matriarch system, not like what religion did, which is come and suppress the woman and bring about a patriarch system with Abraham, with everything being about men, to even modern times where men are presidents, men are prime ministers. It's only in recent time you start to see the women stepping up front, and the master teacher explained that was going to happen years ago, where the woman will become more and more in power, in positions of power. So yeah, if you really check it out, it's but the master teacher also brought down that just because women are not sent here, they are sent to other planets or to other places where they can go and execute whatever their mission is. All right. So yeah, that has stopped in terms of your question. Life is a blessing. That's now stopped. But the thing is, a lot of women have been suppressed for so long that they don't even have the confidence and the power in their divinity, to the point where even when you say to them women are gods, they're like, no, they don't. They find it hard to accept and say, you gave birth to everybody on the planet. But yet in the Bible, in the religious book, they're telling you man, God, Allah, whatever is referred to as a he all the time. And a he comes from a she. So how can he be a he? Because you look at the word she, he is inside of she. You look at the word female, male is inside of the female. You look at the word woman, man is inside of the woman. You look at the word lady, lad is inside the word of lady, lad. And that always shows you that the woman is first, and then the male is inside, coming from that, you see. So it's actually in plain sight, but a lot of women don't recognize that they're God, because like they've actually allowed themselves to be suppressed. But now they're starting to wake up. Okay, Son of says, true that. It is indeed. Yeah, you're right. Greetings from Zambia. Lionel. Kayumba, Rahubat. Ashok forever, for real. And Rahubat. Free Dr. Malachi Zio. That's what we all have to do. We have to constantly let everyone know and shout it out and, you know, contact all the, you know, whatever person in your vicinity that's in a place of power, whether it's dealing with officials, you know, let them know that's what you want. And the more we shout it out loud, the more people are going to hear it. Yeah, so yeah, definitely free Dr. Malachi Zio. And look, I don't know if you can see my t-shirt. If you can see it, this side, it's racism, black and white. This side, you see, multicolor, shows that unity. And it's not about racism, it's about race unity. That's what we're about. Bringing everyone together, love and unity. That's the message of Dr. York and has always been that. But just because you deal with love and unity doesn't mean that you shirk the truth. Truth is truth. Everyone has to deal and contend with the truth. So truth doesn't mean you hate anybody. Truth doesn't mean you're racist. It just means that we have to deal with the facts under one banner and get along and love each other and, you know, get along and just be able to share and respect each other. Okay, who's going to be our first caller for today? We're waiting. Remember, the line's open. The number is +44 753 996 3882. Okay, let's see what else we have. You know, we have to keep repeating it because more and more people are joining you. Hit that like button and share the links. And let's get more people subscribed to Our Souls Matter, because our souls do matter. Collectively, we're one soul. All right. All right, Eugene Williams, can please talk about the Scientology? I know you probably already covered it, but I am new to the way. I thought I had my own beliefs until I ran across your teachings. Yeah, that's an important question, Eugene. It's important to reiterate that we deal with the facts and not beliefs. We don't stop people from believing whatever they want and having beliefs, but you have to recognize that beliefs is a lesser way to help you get to knowing. And to know is to have knowledge. To believe is just a belief. Anyone can believe anything, but it doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't mean it's a fact. It doesn't mean that I should just subscribe to your belief, because beliefs are what have really divided the world, because people say, I believe this, someone else says, I believe that, someone else says, I believe that, someone else says, I believe this, and it's based on opinions, your opinion, and it's like the one thing that unites everyone and kind of like gets rid of the arguments is the facts, because no one can, you can't really dispute a fact if it's a fact. It's like saying, people can say, I'm this, I'm that, I come from here, I come from that. But if we all said, people say I'm Jamaican, I'm Trinidadian, I'm, I don't know, from China, I'm from Japan, I'm from Korea, wherever. But if we all said we're from the planet Earth, as in we're all on the planet Earth, that kind of brings it to a point where we all agree. We can all say we breathe air. We can all say like the planet needs to be a better place by us stopping the pollution, having clean air, clean water, having clean, environments. We can all agree on that, right? So there shouldn't really be divisions when it comes to the common things that unite us. People get caught up in the messenger as opposed to the message. Yeah, what's the message? That's what you want to know. The message from Wu-Sabat is love and unity. Yes, is divine female. Yeah, the female is divine. Yeah, I love that OSM Vision in the house. Put in those female, woman, lady, she. Yeah. Okay. Who else? Is that Ash JS? Do you know Adrenus von der Planet? No, I don't. And the the question is very broad. It's like saying, do you know Michael Jordan? If I do, obviously, Michael Jordan is a famous basketball player, isn't it? So I guess that was a bad example. But like you can just say, do you know someone? And if you don't give the context of who they are, then let me see. Maybe I can Google them. But what? Yeah. What's the point about the question? Is what I'm really trying to get to. How you spell their name? A. Just try. Oh, there you go. AAJONJAN. Is it OUS? Oh, there you go. Okay, I've picked it. I pulled him up. What about him? We want to live. An American alternative nutritionist and food rights activist who focused on raw foods. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've just done a quick Google search because I'm not familiar with that name, and it just says that he's someone that was an American alternative nutritionist and food rights activist who focused on raw foods. And raw food diet, I mean, that's something that many people have spoken about. If you're looking at talking about him from a dietitian or a nutritional point of view, he says that, particularly meat. Nah, we don't do that. It says here he focused on raw foods, particularly meat and dairy. We don't eat raw food, raw meat, and dairy is not good for you because of the mucus that it creates. So already I can see that what he's coming with is not in line with what we teach. Raw food, as in vegetables and certain things, are very good because when you cook or sometimes fry or boil things, you actually remove a lot of the nutrients from the natural state. So yes, natural foods in the sense of being a vegan or like juices and stuff like that, vegetation and herbs, we're aligned with that, but not raw meat and dairy, because dairy, as I said already, produces a lot of mucus, and mucus is dangerous because mucus traps things within your body, especially metals. Like you see a lot of ions, IONS. Search what ions are. Ions are magnetic particles. They're very nano. When you say nano, they're talking about really tiny metals that you breathe in, that are in the air, and we can talk about the chemtrails and all that kind of thing, and pesticides and all kinds of things that are sprayed on, and you take those in, those small metals get trapped by the mucus in your body, and also microwaves and things like that. When you use someone's safe microwaves, the metals get trapped in the food, and you digest those, and then they stay in your body and they get trapped by the mucus, and over time can cause you, health issues. So yeah, mucus is not a great thing. And if you know anything about Dr. Sebi and other, that's a nutritionist, dietitian, if you want to use that term, somebody that dealt with teaching you about raw food and eating things that are not acidic, yeah. So alkaline based stuff, electric foods. This is something that Dr. Sebi was teaching, because your body operates off of electricity as well as other forms of energy. So yes, nutrition in that sense, it's okay, but I can see that this guy doesn't align with what we teach. So I mean, I don't know if you had a question about him, and if I've answered your question, great. If I haven't, probe further. Remember, everyone, press the like button and share it so we can get... Have we got to 100 people yet? But, okay.
670.
Okay, we got a lot to go. So share the links, share it with one of your good friends. You know, and if you come across good fortune, you must share it with your good friends, so, and family. All right, so yeah, please share the link and press the like button. Let's keep going. Um, okay, I'm just trying to see if somebody's posted it, but oh, I really love that shirt. Thank you, Theodore. We got them available right now at Nashat. So look out for that. And if you're not in our Telegram group, please join, because we always share the latest information through OSM Ask Us Anything. All right, let's keep going. This is Son of Man. How do I learn to talk to animals? What's the name of the tablet that's in it? And how do I learn more about the person Allah? All right, so that's a few questions. The tablet you're referring to is the holy tablets, where it's spoken about. You can learn to talk to. We have a call. Okay. With everything, yeah, you just pay attention, change your actual being in terms of how the master explained it to us, and I've seen this happen. If you eat meat and eat animals, right, animals can sense that and pick that up from you, because they're kind of looking at you like a danger to them. So you have to clean yourself inside out, and then your aura changes when you're cleansed, positive, giving off nice vibration, and then animals won't see you as a threat. Yeah, most of the time they will run away from people that are vibrating on a particular frequency that they fear, because they think you're going to harm me or something, and they draw close to you. Like he said, birds will fly and maybe rest on you. And I'm not saying every single situation or person that gets this means they're like so pure and spiritual or anything, but the majority is when they will draw closer to you. They won't fear you. Like when you're walking past, they won't run away. They'll just feel safe. But if they feel kind of sense any danger from you, then they run. So I'm saying that to say, once you've cleansed yourself inside out and you're peaceful and the energy you exude is nice and in harmony with nature and with animals, they draw close to you. Plants in your house, for example, they will grow, they will flourish, because people say they speak to plants and communicate with them, and you have to listen out for all these signs to see how they're responding to you. You also have your ancestors that vibrate on that next level, because remember, what we call the plane of force is a level above the physical plane, and things can affect the physical from the plane of force, and your ancestors could utilize these forces to communicate to you through animals and through plants and trees and so on, because they have to give you signs. They have to, if you're not attuned to the point where you can actually manifest them, so they will use other animated objects to communicate with you. So you start to look on what, like for example, if you're going somewhere and a particular butterfly just happens to be around you, and then you go somewhere else, that same butterfly you see again, you go somewhere else, that butterfly is there. And then let's say you go from your house, you went somewhere far, even driving or whatever, but you get to your destination and you see the same exact type of butterfly, or it might be a ladybird, whatever it is, right? And then you come home and you see the same butterfly. You would have to say to yourself, and I'm sure many people have had this experience, how strange is that? How is it that this butterfly seems to be with me everywhere I go? And you might start to say, you know what, maybe my ancestor or someone is trying to give me a message. You might say, well, what's the message? You would work it out. And eventually, it might be that you're in a situation, and when it appears, it's saying yes, it's a good thing, and when it doesn't appear, or vice versa, like it appears, it's saying don't do it. Do you know what I mean? So there are many ways you will learn to communicate with animals. It's by, remember, okay, language as well is another part of this. So language is not always spoken like how we're speaking now. This is actually it's a lower way of communicating, because communication can be in many forms, and originally it was in tones. Yeah, then those tones became events or symbols that were caught into symbols, and those symbols eventually became letters, and those letters eventually were used to form alphabets, and then those alphabets were used to form words, and those words are used to form sentences, and sentences are used to form paragraphs. Paragraphs are used to form chapters, and before you know it, you have a whole book. All right. We have a live caller, so please tell us where you're calling from, what's your name, and your questions, please.
Greetings. This is Delilah. I'm calling from the States in Florida.
Rahubat.
My question, it's not really a question. I'm calling to confirm what you're saying about the animals.
Okay.
I was in my house. I went to the lake. This happened probably last week. I was at the lake on my property, and there's normally always this bird that I've recognized that has lost this little feet, one of the feet, I don't know what you call it. So I've seen it several times when I'm sitting at the lake. So I walked from the lake back to my home, and I heard a weird noise on the gate. I'm like, what is this noise? And I saw a bird that I didn't recognize before. And then the little black bird that has the injured little feet was there as well. He had flown underneath my patio table. And I said, is that the same bird? So I stared at the bird that was about to attack the little innocent bird. And I stood in my window, and I said, in my mind, I said, big bird, do not hurt little bird. Big bird, do not hurt little bird. And the bird he was like turning his head or whatever, trying to figure out where is this information, where is this coming from? Now, mind you, I've heard you say this before, what you're talking about with the animals, because I'm starting to pay more and more attention to it.
Right.
It freaked me out so bad because the bird was looking to, I guess he must have felt my energy or the waves or something, because I was thinking, big bird, leave little bird alone. When I tell you the bird flew off of the top of the gate onto my patio chair, I have the chairs tilted onto the table so the table stops him. The
Right.
bird flew onto the leg of the chair and was looking directly at me. It freaked me out. I wouldn't look at his eyes because I didn't know what would happen.
Yeah.
But the bird literally flew away
Tour.
and
Yeah.
left the little injured bird. By now, the little injured bird had flown underneath my patio table. So what you're saying is so true, because it just happened to me, and I was really like, okay, nobody is here. I said, I didn't even video this. Nobody is even here to know this, but
Yeah.
it actually happened. I kid you not. And thank you so much for talking about that, because I was about to lose my mind, but then I'm believing. I'm not believing. I'm being. I am. I I know it.
Yeah.
I see it. I feel it. And thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. It's always fantastic when we hear people share, because a lot of times we'll be teaching these things that people, no one else is teaching, and people think we're strange, or we're making it up. But when people confirm it, I tell you another story that relates to that with my own personal experience. Because when we learn and start to grow in consciousness, and especially in Wu-Sabat, and we realize that everyone and everything is connected in terms of when we say the chain reaction, and every cause has an effect and vice versa. I used to be like, okay, now I can't hurt anything, because you know who or what gives us the right to look at a little ant as if their life is insignificant and just kill it. But then there's situations where you might be in your house and then a bee or a wasp or flies even will fly into your house, and they can be annoying. And originally, without knowledge and the ignorance, some people would just try to kill them or unalive them. And there were times where I would be like, literally, open the window and say, please, can you leave? And communicate with them and tell them to leave. And they will just leave and go out the window, which means that I don't have to go through all that chaos and, wanting to unalive them for no reason, just because they're irritating you. And sometimes, like we say, it could be a message, it could be one of your ancestors or whatever. And again, I'm not trying to just to take it too far, because every situation is going to be different. But there will be certain situations that you will have a feeling of connection. And remember, us as the original beings, as in before, certain animals, or shall I say, us being given intelligence, we are able to communicate, as I was saying before the call came in different ways, like mind to mind communication or telepathy, and if there were other species or beings, is she still on the line? Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't realize you're still on there. But yeah, so you can command and move things with your mind. This is where, telekinesis or certain powers come in, or like I said, mind to mind communication. And with cooperation and love, as in divine love, you can usher, animals, and this goes all the way to certain people who are able to control animals, and all that story of like Tarzan in the jungle comes from this, because you can be looked at as an intelligent being. More, it depends on the animal, of course, because some animals are more intelligent than humanoids. But yeah, you can definitely communicate, relate to, and yeah, and work with any other thing in nature, because nature is nature, and animals are more in tune with nature. This is why if you see a flock of birds flying in one direction, it's not just by coincidence. It's normally because they're leaving or evacuating in time before something that is coming to that location. Also, yeah, when you're in the jungle or whatever, like they will leave you alone if another one, like people who go to say countries that have mosquitoes, they don't realize that, you know, if you eat, say, certain foods, that vibration draws the mosquitoes to you. So, for example, a lot of sugar, in your system will give a particular type of vibration. And then when they come and taste that sweetness in your blood, that's when you get attacked even more. So if you stop eating sweet things, and you'll find out that they will leave you alone. So there are sciences to how you vibrate or what you put in your body that will either attract or detract animals from you. And there's a movie called World War Z, which I point out a number of times, which is dealing with the zombie apocalypse. And in that movie, the Z is very important because it's a red Z, and Z is the end of the alphabet, and it's talking about the end of, the end of the world, about a particular type of world, obviously, where there is a zombie apocalypse, and these beings, they smell you, and they smell you by way of your blood or your vibration or what you put into your body. So beings that didn't give off a particular scent, they couldn't smell them or find them because they couldn't actually really see you, but they only work off of your vibration or your, how you're smelling. So there's so many examples we could give to explain about why we don't eat meat, specifically, anything with parents, and why, and the Z is no coincidence being red as well. So this is a movie we would recommend for you to check out so you can understand about changing your vibration. But I hope that helps in some way. The feet of the birds are either called toes or claws. So if that helps.
Okay, it's called claws.
I think you're breaking up. Yeah.
You said the feet of the bird is called a claw?
Yeah, some birds they call them claws or toes, just like we have toes.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
I
Was
have
then
one other.
yeah
Do I have time for another question?
yeah
For a
sure
question, rather?
yeah go ahead.
Okay. Coming from a Christian background, and I mean real Christian, I mean Alabama, Mississippi Christian.
I hear you.
uh, and you know how we were taught, well, I'm not sure if you know, but we were taught that, and I can envision this from studying Wu-Sabat and the master teachers teaching, reading the scrolls. I can imagine it even more, the idea of a location, city, town, place where everyone is on a agreeable vibe, I'll say. I can imagine that because that's what we were taught as a little girl. I remember we're going to be in a world where no more dying, no more crying, and all that good stuff.
Right.
What does that look like
It looks like
in
what
this time?
we already had it. That's what Tamaray was, our land in Eaton, Georgia, which was actually showing that in real time, in real life, and it was what many people described as heaven on earth. It's funny you should say that because the JWs also used to have those types of the JWs, Jehovah Witnesses, used to have
Oh my word.
these pamphlets that their tower. I can't remember what it's called, something tower. But yeah, I used to look through their
The
brochures.
watchtower.
That's the one, the watchtower. Before getting deep into researching them and so on, but they used to have these paintings of this place that's all lovely and peaceful. Except that I didn't used to see any black people in them, and I used to ask them that question, but I'm digressing. But yeah, Tamaray, Egypt of the West, that's what the blueprint or black print was. It was a beautiful place. People from all walks of life would come. There wasn't really there was no incident of fighting, abuse, nothing like that until obviously later on where certain people decided to desecrate it. But it is something that we're working on, and that is something that is spoken about, and it's something that we are working on even now as a reality. So it's like heaven on earth, and you have to think when we teach things like cleaning yourself inside out, stop killing animals or unaliving animals to eat, treat people the way you would like to be treated, living peacefully, a shook, love and, unity. That's a place where only people who want to live like that, vibrate like that, are going to be able to live in that type of a place, because people that want to do things that are not agreeable don't really want to be around people who are not doing the same thing as them. So people that want to live that type of life, they will mostly be attracted to like cities and city life, not country, and living by natural nature and in harmony with nature and peace. They want to go to the bright lights. They want to, smoke, drink, party, take drugs, be promiscuous and all that stuff. So there is a separation, and it was like that before when you had different zones on the planet. And that's what the planet was like originally, with the green zone, which was known as Nupu, before these disagreeable alien beings came and basically raped and produced offspring that brought about chaos and division. So then there was another zone set up called Zupu, which was the red zone for the containment, or where you were quarantined. But then, of course, they broke out and mixed, and now there's chaos on the planet because people from the green zone went into the red zone, and people from the red zone went into the green zone, and now contaminate everything. And now we're back to that point. And this happened many times where they tell you that the world had to be started again. And the last one, if you use the religious books, was like the last time there was a promise made to Noah that the world would not be destroyed by water in the latter day, because previously it was floods that were the restart, not the entire world, but just certain places, just like how today we have tsunamis. But it was said that it will be by fire. But people didn't really know that fire that they're talking about is the sun, because the sun is literally a ball of fire, hydrogen and helium that is burning. So this is what people are now talking about, calling it the sun cycle. And those who can't live under the sun will literally give them skin cancer. And it's anyone who their body or their DNA and their mind, their thoughts, their vibration is of a low vibrational frequency, are gonna have to go through this judgment that we're calling, the new sun cycle that's coming in, or the Aquarian age. And it is happening. People call it global warming and all types of names that they refer to it by. But it is this time, and the cleansing is going on and happening in all sorts of ways, with natural disasters, with a lot of wars and things that are going on, because the Adamites who have created this chaos for the last 6,000 years, their time is up. It was up as of the year 2000 AD, and this is what we're going through right now, this transformation. And a lot of people are becoming more spiritually aware, more consciously aware. They call it woke. When you're waking up, you're realizing what's going on around you. You're seeing the world for what it really is, and that you don't want to be a part of those that are descending. You want to ascend. So you hear ascension, you hear all of these words that people that are trying to rise above, that vibration, So yeah, this is going to be very real, and for those who follow the Lamb wherever he goes, and that's what's very important. Does that help?
Oh, excuse me. Very much so. Thank you so much. I really appreciate what you all are
Thank you.
doing, and I appreciate your time. I've learned a lot from reading The Man from Planet Risk. I
Right.
think that is where I discovered the breakdown of the DNA of the animals from the cleaning. We know when they had to go down and when the animals were created. And that just, I didn't need anything else. I haven't eaten meat since I read it. So,
Right.
and then I have a better understanding of why not. And this is another thing that I appreciate about the scrolls and the teachings, is that I was telling someone in my family, I say I walk away with the impression of me and me doing better, opposed to when you read a book that someone has written, you only find their handprint or footprint. When you read a book, but when I read the scrolls, I'm reading information. Even though it's coming from the master teacher, the information is for me. The
Right.
information is for everyone. It doesn't specifically say, well, I did this, I did that.
That's
No,
right.
it leaves a place for me to find me. And that's what I appreciate, and that's why I'm hooked. And I think I've been picked from life because when I found this, and since I've been on this journey, I called it the truth journey, because when my mom passed away, it broke me open, because we lived such strict religious life, but her life was so, it just wasn't, I just,
It
I just
wasn't
couldn't
aligning.
understand. It had to be something different. So
To
thank you so much.
yo.
You came across my timeline or scroll or whichever on YouTube, and I've been hooked ever since. So yeah,
Appreciate
I'm
love you
I'm
too.
so thankful, and
Thank
I'm
you.
trying my best to get to the next step of basically talking and introducing the scrolls, even reading the scrolls, perhaps something, but I'm slowly working towards getting to the point where I can really share more and more of the scrolls.
Thank you. There's a couple of points you mentioned. Yeah, it is a part of you, and it's already in your DNA. Like your story, our ancestors are so intelligent that it's encoded in your DNA. So reading it, it just what we call, it gives you a DNA explosion, and that is like a remembering tool. So you already know it. It's within your DNA, your genetics. That's why we say intelligence, intel in your genetics or in the genes, and they just get activated by the information because you're the one. It's about you. It's about each one of us, and we're one collectively once we start to apply it, because it's a universal message. And that's why Wu-Sabat, when you listen to me as a student teacher and you listen to another student teacher, we say the same things. It's not, there's no division between us. I mean, people are at different stages in their development or in how much knowledge they've acquired, but whatever they're exposed to from the master teacher, when they share that, you can read one book and share that. But I do get what you're saying. And the next point that you made that's such an important thing is that there are levels. You know, you can come across it for the first time, you start to read, you start to get experiences, you start to know things for yourself, and the next stage is to meet with other like-minded people. And that's why we encourage people to go to their nearest community, the stores, because you being a part of it is you're also helping. And a lot of times people just think that someone else is going to do it, but you are a part of that puzzle. Your energy, your skills, whatever you have to give makes up that piece that you have to bring to the puzzle. So go into the stores, because they don't realize there's normally only a small handful of people that are actually dedicated, committed to holding things up. And since we've been dispersed and since the master teacher has been kidnapped, and we always encourage people to come together, because when you come together, you put your energies together, and everyone who thinks on a high level tells you that there's power in unity, there's power in working together. So yeah, the next stage for you, I'm not sure if there is a community near you, but you can check on our website, is to try and visit. If you can't go regularly, but start with being around other like-minded beings, and then you're going to take it to another whole level when you speak and connect with other people. All right.
Well, I definitely will do that. The closest bookstore there's two. One is Lithonia, and the other one I think is Blue Mountain in Georgia.
Okay.
And I believe they're both about probably 9 hours, 10 hours from where I am, I believe it is. Well,
Okay.
no. Probably about 7 hours, 6 or 7 hours, if I'm not mistaken. But
Yeah.
that is the goal, to take a trip, even just for knowledge, just so I can put a voice with the face with the voice, however it goes. But
Okay.
yes, that is a goal that I'm thinking about
Good.
doing, and that's the next step.
Nafirmul. Beautiful. All right. Thank you. Tawat.
Thank you, thank you.
Wadu.
What?
Okay. Back to the questions. A online question. I want to know how to establish which voice I'm hearing in my head is the right one. Okay, so sometimes some of the questions might sound complicated at first, but they're really not as complicated as you may think. Now, the answer to that is that you listen to the voice that tells you to do the right thing by everyone. Meaning that as you hear voices in your head, some voices are going to tell you to do things that are selfish or just for yourself, right? Not to say you can't do things for yourself, but the voice that's always telling you to do things without gain, to do things that will benefit other people or more than yourself. The voice that tells you to do the right thing by, the masses, like humanity, etc. That's going to always be the right voice. So you tell yourself what to do so other people don't have to tell you. Now, over time, you will know which voice to listen to, because you'll have voices that will tell you you're about to make a decision, you're about to do something, and a voice that tells you to do the wrong thing, as in, okay, tell a lie, or do something negative, or eat something that you know is bad for you. If you hear a voice that says, go on, just eat it, it's only once, it's not going to harm you, and another voice says, you shouldn't eat that because, it's going to give you high blood pressure or whatever, then after a while, you have to override the voice or the voices that are constantly telling you to do things that you regret afterwards, because you would do it and you'd be like, I know I shouldn't have done that. or you will feel a certain way, or you might feel depressed, or something will come off of that action that you know within your being that it was not the right one. This is why we say you have will and you have a conscious, because consciously you have to process. And by reading the scrolls of Wu-Sabat, that's what you're doing. You're learning how to silence those voices of your 29 or less personalities that are giving you these voices. And then you have other voices that are not part of your personalities that are external with broadcast that you're picking up from either things you've listened to on the radio, on the television, or in movies, or you know, you pass in and somebody else has sent a frequency that you've picked up, because thoughts are frequencies and vibrations. They have a weight, they have a vibration, they have a color, and you could just be walking down the road and pick up somebody else's negative thoughts. This is why we say it's important to train yourself to have your mind constantly focused, so that you're aware of your surroundings and what you're picking up, and that you are in control of which voices are influencing you. Because you can just kind of just switch off for a minute and you're not aware that you've been sent a thought. This is why you can be speaking with somebody and everything's fine, and then they will just switch on you in a minute, and you're like, we were getting along, everything was fine, what happened? Like, what's going on? They will just switch because they've allowed one of their personalities or a negative thought to take control. And you also have walk-ins and beings that are literally all around you, looking for an opportunity to jump in or walk in you and then utilize your vessel. So you have to be vigilant at all times with your thoughts. And it's important to stay calm, because sometimes some people are very anxious, or they're agitated, or they're easily triggered or easily angered. That is an opportunity for some of these beings, who only need 3 seconds of you losing your composure, and they're in there and they will start to utilize you. And so people who get angry easily, this is something you would need to work on. And how do you do that? You do things like staying in silent, meditation, mindfulness, practicing mindfulness, breathing exercises. These are all things to calm your mind and calm you down, so that you don't react. You think first. Before you take an action, you have to think. But if you just act on impulse, you're not having the opportunity to process and think about your actions. So yes, it's very, very important that that's how you will learn to hear your voice. We have another caller. Voice note. All right, let's get to it.
Hello, Sir Ken. This is Sheba calling from West London. My question to you is this. I've often heard that people choose their parents before they are born. Is it true? And if it is true, is it true for everyone? Thank you.
Great question, Sheba. It's not true for everyone, simply because some people are sent down here. Some people are, as it says, cursed, or like, for example, you're talking about, for example, when you read the book of Revelations, it talks about Michael and his angels. They fought against the dragon and his angel, and they were cast down here, right? If you're being cast somewhere or summoned or sent, that means someone else's will is being imposed on you to do that action. So it's not the same for everyone, because some beings, and also remember this, so this is such an important point, right? I remember I asked a question, I think in the last live, I asked, what age was Adam and Eve in the garden? Because they don't tell you. They just tell you that God created Adam and then created Eve from his rib. And the reason I'm saying that is because were they born? Because if they weren't born like that, So they didn't grow through being a baby and growing to being an adult, or were they just adults? Because that's all left like without any explanation. So going back to your question about choosing the parents, the choosing. Oh yeah, that's the point. We got another caller. Let me finish this one. She's gonna make me lose my point. The point I was making is, yeah, that's it. Not every being that's on this planet or on this realm right now is born here as a baby. There are beings that have just come here through wormholes, through gates, with crafts that are not going through that process of being born in the way that beings that are born here through parents. So the ones that are reborn or born here through parents, the reason for that is because they may have not accomplished their purpose and they're being given another opportunity or chance to do that. Those are the situations or scenarios where, you know, the seeds, or the entities, the man and woman or the parents that you want to incarnate or reincarnate through are chosen so that you can fulfill your purpose that you didn't do the previous lifetime. So in that scenario, if you were supposed to, I don't know, this is just an example, if you were supposed to be a famous musician, but in your last lifetime, and that was to convey a particular message or something to humanity, but you didn't fulfill that and you're given a chance to come back, you would choose parents that perhaps are in the music business or people that are, established musicians or well accomplished musicians. So that would then give you a good start in life. Because sometimes you see certain children that are born through, say, musicians, and they become musicians, or that you look at, say, Bob Marley, look at his children, they all are musicians, and you say, oh, it's just because it's in the DNA, it's in the genes. Clearly that's coming through the parent. All right, but yeah, so not everyone goes through that process, but some do because they have to fulfill a particular purpose. All right, let's take that second call. Okay. In the meantime, okay, we covered that. Maramir, would you prefer paperback books or hardback to be sent into the UK? Both, if you could. Like, if you could give us, if you're going to send 10, for example, do 5 of each. Yeah, I started to read in your book. It's very good, by the way. I actually really enjoy it. I like the way it's read, the way it writes and read. Right, caller, what's your name, where you calling from, and what's your question?
I'm here. I'm here.
I'm hearing yeah, Rahubat, greetings, caller.
Right about, brother.
I think you're, yeah, if you can mute the video because we're hearing an echo feedback from the because there's a latency and it's delaying. Can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Let me talk my ear. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's much better.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you doing today, King?
Doing my best as usual, and how are you?
Good, good. I can start off by telling you my question, just how you did me last time. I've been following y'all ever since.
Okay.
It's funny that I say That's what it's about. Have you ever heard of the the OM, the
Tour.
AUM? Yes, I was taken there, and I've been trying to find out why I was there ever since. I'm not a lucid dreamer or just an astro. I have been taken there. I'm a special kid, golden light child. Go check the years and dates. I'm December 17th, 1986. I'm even the 13th zodiac. So I know something. I was taken, and I don't know what to do with it. And this is the only thing that makes the sense from divine feminine to everything. The divine feminine took me there. So I wanted to know something about the gates that I went through, and I wanted to know if that was from a different species or was that from ours.
I mean, there are certain experiences that obviously are your own, and only perhaps when you get the opportunity to be before the master and walk with him, he might be able to expound on certain things. But the
Yes.
own sounds is a universal sound because it deals with the tone that was made when we had the first bang of what they try to explain as, they say, the beginning of everything, but it's really dealing with our universe, right? This one universe, and
Yes.
that ring, that tone rings and has been ringing ever since, and it's just a
I heard it and
vibrational
been through those
tone.
gates. It said, "Oh, I'm talking about," and I was in space.
Yeah,
I was out. I projected, but first I came through the ground, like from underground through levels. I went through playgrounds, heard the kids and seen everything. Went past birds, went through space, like through the firm. And as I went into deep space, it was so beautiful. It was so crazy and like murky. But I'm talking about I was dead. Well, and I'm not talking like others. You got to know that I actually been doing that for a long time. But this is just this one because it's part of my calling. I write code and everything. It's all in there. So I'm like a madman in a movie trying to figure out where this arm come into play, right? So I goes through and these big gates made out of like gold and light. It was crazy. And they smashed together like and
yeah. I'm
opened
saying,
up, and I
yeah,
went through them, and I came out the body physical, and I was moving like a snake in the air. I could see all the electricity in the walls, the lines. They was all gauges of red, yellow, and orange. All the walls was shifting, the doors was changing the passport. I was in another dimension. I know how. I basically I knew where I was, but because I was already educated to a certain point. So as life continued on, different little things was opening that door, showing signs, and I'm following the path. You know, just like a chosen one would do. Okay, hop along,
right.
quietly hop along. And now I'm at this point. I found the arm. I didn't even know what arm was, and then I found it. So
Right.
now I'm finding out that it came from, the Egyptian temples and all of this. Even though it was notarized through something about India and all of that. But I'm like, dang, this even go back to our original. So
Right.
now I
This is
don't
what I
know
was
how to
gonna say
connect
to
to
you
that and
that
what it's for me and us.
yeah. Again, like we said, a lot of what you're sharing is personal in terms of your actual experience that you went through, and as you know, we we don't speak on your personal experiences, but in terms of the sound, the Om, this is why the
Yes, sir.
Tibetan monks and even on our land on Tamaray, we used to constantly play that Om because it's a connection and a vibration. However, we
Yes,
have
sir.
now since been taken to our tones of FAC, and so those
Okay.
are the tones that we're focusing on right now. However, what we also would encourage people to do is to study the more esoteric teachings of the master teacher and come closer, because
Yes.
yeah, because at the end of the day, people have all these types of experiences, and we say to them, the master teacher is a 720 degree because he's mastered the 1 to 9 in terms of the different realms and the spiritual side as well as the physical side. So the way you're gonna get to learn more and control those powers that you have is to be amongst those beings that the master teacher is grooming, and
And
that's
that's what
not
I'm
gonna
trying to
be
do. So
right.
I'm trying to figure out booking my one-on-one or watching certain sessions in order because I came in the middle, and it's
Yeah,
not chaotic. I find it very peaceful and in order amongst. So that's why I constantly come
yeah.
back.
I
I
keep.
just
I
don't
think
know
you. Where
how
you
to go
based
into,
again?
or I don't have the confidence to jump and find out exactly where community at. Is there an outreach? Because I don't talk to people. When you got those powers, you got to be careful with your energy. If you really know, you know. You
Right.
can't just talk to any and everybody. People don't understand. That's how shit latch on to you.
So
Excuse
yeah,
my
yeah,
my
yeah.
French, as they call it here.
Yeah,
But
yeah, I
yeah,
hear you. That's
like
why I'm saying that you've gotta link up, because again, people can get. I'm not referring to just you, but people can get overwhelmed and carried away with their spiritual experiences, and if they're not careful, it can also take them off on a tangent, and that's why you still have to be grounded with the physical things, in the sense of, like I said, the work that needs to be done, and it's not just
yes, sir.
that aspect. So be amongst like-minded people, and you're gonna find those when you are around people in the community. I know where you are may be a bit of a distance, but if you put your mind to it, you will find your tribe, as they say, and be amongst the family that will then help you. You'll be amazed. There are things that we know that we don't talk about publicly, because when you start to get into those kind of
Right,
spiritual aspect of things, it's a personal thing that you have
right.
to
Especially
be.
with high
Yeah,
energy, especially where it's two or
exactly.
more. Exactly.
All right.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Peace
Yes,
to
sir.
love. Peace to
That
love.
boy, that answered my question, and it was good just to know that you even knew about Well, I knew you would know, but to inform me on the because I was like, it's real high vibration with me right now. Let's just say, like, let's put it that way.
All right. Yeah, like you said, you pointed out, they spell OM and some spell it AUM because it's a much better tone. But this is stuff we were taught by way of Sons of the Green Light, by the Amon, ancient mystical order of Melchizedek, and now through AEO, the ancient Egyptian order. There are orders that you kind of have to get involved with, and there is a process and a step-by-step method to go from where you're at now to learning more about those esoteric or higher learnings and vibrations. So yeah, stay on the path, hold on to the rope, and get closer
and
to
just
the
make
light.
my way to like-minded communities, right? I will put it that way. Is that the correct way to say it?
That's the correct way
Because
to say it.
I want to make efforts and strive out, and you don't get nowhere if you don't strive and reach out to places. So I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to go about it, but I'm gonna just let the spirit guide me.
Absolutely, and your ancestors within you. All right, Tawat, Wadu.
All right, peace.
Peace. Did okay? Did I think I was in the middle of Oh yeah, that last question about speaking to animals. I didn't finish the last part where it said, and how do I learn more about the person Allah? The person that people are calling Allah is really Anu. Anu of the Sumerian doctrine, all right? That's who most people in religion are calling the Most High, Allah, Elo, etc. And then I was answering the question that the voicemail, and we talked about what was that question again? The voicemail one. I think I answered it, but there might have been a little piece that I got interrupted on.
I think you done it. I played it.
Yeah. If you could just.
Hello, Sir Ken. This is Sheba calling from West London. My question to you is this.
Yeah, I did answer it. It was about the parents.
People choose their parents before they are born. Is it true? And if it is true.
Yeah, we did cover that. Yeah, it is true for those that are born that way, but not all people are born that way. I did cover that. Okay, Zamal, this is from Slider Rider. Zamal Saken, did Miss Batu ever merge into modern day dialects? No, it's the other way around. Modern day dialects come from Miss Batia because Miss Batia is the root language where all others come from. And we have a part of that call, speaking of tongues, and that goes into the origins of the language, and also the book called Palahej Shalel Wakut, all right, which is the language of time. That scroll, if you can get your hands on it, goes into great detail about the development of language that was imported here from our ancestors, and then the operation was carried out on the females to speak first, right? 54,000 years ago. And that was before male spoke. And it was an actual operation that, because they had to develop the voice box, okay? And, if you look at, say, a parrot, there's certain animals that, like the parrot that can say a few words, but if you start to look at the gene, the duff, I think it's a duff 120. If you read the ancient signs of speech, it's another master secret that we have. It goes into this. So dialects come from the original language. The original language on the planet is Misbatia, but it's known by different names, such as Sabaic, such as Nuwapic, Napatan, Napatian. Like this is the area Napthuhim in the Bible, dealing with Meroe. And the operation was done on the females, and then the males spoke after, and then the Adamites only spoke like 6,000 years ago. So language was imported here, developed, and then women were given speech first, and then this is what I told this day, no disrespect, but women speak more eloquently, they speak more words than men. and they always have to express themselves. Like, you know, apparently women need to speak about 5,000 words a day or something, or is it a week? Do some research, and if they don't, then it builds up, and then they have to get it out when they see you, or when, you know, you sit down and men are like, I just want to watch the football, and they just want to talk. But they're very expressive, you know, they're very eloquent, they're very intellectual in what they say. So yeah, that's to deal with language and dialect. All right, that's for you, Slider Rider. Rahubat, many thanks for the correction. Okay, cool. Let's keep going. We'll cover that. I want to know how to establish which voice I'm hearing. Would you prefer paper? Cover that. Is there a scroll? Okay, this is Ibrahim Mutala. Rahubat Sukhen, is there a scroll on how to properly meditate and fast? Does the master align with Muslim way of fasting, like no food or water from down to... No, not at all. The Muslim way of fasting is actually not very healthy or good for you. There are different types of fast. Our book, Fast Track Your Spiritual and Conscious Journey, this goes into fasting and meditation and so on. But the scrolls the master puts out, the Patarak, they all cover the different aspects of fasting. Now, there are different types of fasts, and we cover those. So you have water fasting, you have... The reason we say the Muslim way of fasting is not good is because they don't, or it's not as healthy, shall I say. It's not that it's not good, because you can get health benefits, but they don't really drink water, or and that's not good, because your organs, they need that lubrication. They need the water helps to flush out impurities from the body. So if you're not fasting, and you can get ulcers, and you can get all types of other things that come from fasting in an incorrect way. Yeah, so there isn't a specific scroll, but scrolls like concentration, relaxation, these are pataraks that go into the proper way to do it. And definitely water intake is necessary. Some people do just fruit, just juices. That's a fasting. Some people do what you say in terms of sunset, where they break their fast with, you know, miso soup or some kind of lentils, something light and nutritional. But yeah, we don't align with their way of fasting. If you're referring to like the Ramadan and all that, yeah. But the thing is as well, because we went through that school, a lot of them will fast all day, and then they will meet or congregate in the mosque afterwards and eat a big meal, and then it's like you're making up for the day that you fasted, and then they're eating late, which doesn't give time for the food to actually fully digest. And then when the sun is so-called up, because the sun doesn't really move, as you know, then they will say they're fasting, but the food from that time you're eating in the evening is still in your system, and that can take up to 24 hours or longer to fully digest. So it's not good to eat late and eat after fasting like that. So yeah, there are many other points, but just to tell you that no, we don't align with the Muslim way of fasting like that. But fasting in itself is not a religious practice. You can fast as we do, you know, the first 3 days of the month. You can fast on the day of your birth anniversary, and you can fast during the winter and the summer solstice. We give all these details on how to do it properly once you're part of our community, and in our groups we share this information. All right, so I hope that helps, Ibrahim. Let's move on. I hope you guys are sharing. Caring is sharing, or sharing is caring. So share the live stream, and yeah, let's get more people awake to Wu-Sabat. Where is Malachi Z you're currently incarcerated? Is in Colorado. AdMax in Colorado. Rosalind Hunt. Rahul Batsakin, where can I find the place to sign the petition for the release of the master teacher? Oh, okay. Again, we can post the links in the chat, but join our groups, join our Telegram group, go to the stores, go and commune and talk to people, get involved. Don't just spectate, participate, because it's not about standing off from afar. A lot of people don't know the conspiracy that was put together to incarcerate him. And we go into details. You have a complete legal group known as freedryork.com on the Clubhouse, on the website. And when you're in our groups, we share a lot of information. I read, the We the People flyer that was communicated. Okay, Edwards, yeah, book your one-to-one anytime you're ready. So yeah, in terms of, a lot of people don't understand how deep the rabbit hole goes in terms of the conspiracy to bring down an innocent man who was doing great things for not just African or Negroid people, but for humanity, and building a place that was conducive for peace and harmony for everyone to commune and live in a particular way. There were a lot of obstacles or obstruction to stop the progress of this. I guess you could call it like one of the last Black Wall Street, if you want to use that. That's something people are familiar with. But at the end of the day, he's still alive, and it's our efforts that are going to bring him home and free. So we definitely have to shout it out, loud and clear. Yeah, I see admin on OSM Vision are giving you the information. ADX Supermax in Colorado. All right, let's keep going. Okay, let's keep going. Spirit High. William Tyndale was a person who assisted to translate the Bible from Latin to the common language of the time. This, for me, was another level of herding the masses. How would you interpret this? Yeah, that was part of the conspiracy, because there was a lot of mistranslation and sometimes even purposely misleading people by way of the change of words, etc. So yeah, that's part of the problem. We have another caller live, so please state your name, where you're calling from, and then go ahead and ask a question. Greetings, Rahul Bat.
Hello.
Rahul Bat. Greetings. What's your name? What's your...
Like in my plan or something.
Can you hear me?
Hello.
Rahul Bat.
Hello. Greetings.
Greetings.
Greetings. What's your question and where are you calling from?
Greetings, Wu-Sabat.
Tua, Rahul Bat.
Wu-Sabat. Yo, this is from Guyana, no brother.
Yeah. How you doing? What's your name?
Guyana.
Yes.
Huh?
What's your name and what's your question?
My name is Michael. I was supposed to have a video shot with you, a Zoom shot on Thursday with one of the teachers.
Okay, we may have to rebook that. What, this Thursday or the one coming?
Okay, I will have to get in contact with you to rebook that, right?
Okay, was it? Okay, we will sort that out. Just reach back out and let us know.
Yeah, because you understand, my system is done, and I'm so proud that I get caught up with you now and get into the program and everything. You understand me?
Yeah.
I was so glad. No? Yeah, love more.
Love to you too, Zamal.
Yeah. I want to learn more about the languages, because the things you've been teaching, I already familiar with it. Okay. I learn from Guyana, far away from you.
Yes.
Yes, so I've been learning these things since I was small, like, especially my grandfather, you know.
Yeah.
Who was a member of parliament in Guyana here, you understand? And And my computer is down right now. I'm waiting on my uncle to send one from Canada, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he was a member of the Freemasons, so we're trying to get contact with him and so on, and get another computer so we could get our program up,
Okay.
and us learning everything up,
Yeah. Well, do you have any questions right now?
Yeah. My question was like I had questions of comparing to the 12 tribes, the 12 functions of man. If you have any reading about it, if you got any facts about it.
About what? Sorry.
About the 12 functions, you got the 9. You're telling me about the 9 ether, right?
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah. But we're looking now at the 12 functions. If the 12 functions is manifested within the 9 ether.
The 12 functions.
Yes, the 12 functions of man. I had a book when I was small. I used to read it called the 12 functions from 12 tribes. I was a part of the 12 tribes of Israel too.
Oh, you're talking about that? Yeah, the 12. Yeah. Yeah, that's not one of our books, but if you have it, do you have that scroll?
I don't have it anymore. Due to the flood and so we had in Guyana, it's lost. All my documents lost.
Okay.
Some documents from Libya and also
Yeah.
that get lost in the flood, when we had a great flood in Guyana here.
Yeah. All right. Well, we don't really we don't have that scroll at the moment. And I would need to know exactly who's the author, because that's not is that from the master teacher? I can't recall that, but I'll have to do a little research into that one, and then when we have our one-to-one, we can go into it.
Yes. Well, I want to learn more about Wu-Sabat, so I want to be more close to contact,
Yeah.
I want to spread it around Guyana, because when I start spreading it, I see people running from the knowledge.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I think we do have family there.
Huh?
We have family in Guyana. We know some people that we can link you with, so you guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Let me make a good call on you Thursday now, and then we sit down comfortable at home, because I'll be at home Thursday. Right now I'm in the streets.
No problem.
I'm kind of street person. But right now when I be at home, I could sit down and have a proper good conversation with you,
Tour.
On Thursday, is it possible?
Yeah, we can hook that up. We'll do that. Okay?
Okay.
No problem.
Yeah, so I got more questions, and so many questions I had, you kind of cleared them up on the program that I was watching through the night. So I'm going to watch the program from night till morning. I'm watching Wu-Sabat.
Yeah, that's what we hear from a lot of people. They're on Wu-Sabat 24/7. That's great to know.
Yeah. When I'm on the program, I can't come off, because the things that you're saying is things I was saying from since I was a little child, from since I was a little boy.
Yeah.
I was saying it to my family, I was saying it to friends, but all I was saying is, you're a madman.
Yeah, that people say that because you're talking about things they don't know.
Yeah, the things that come to me naturally, the things that you say now is natural facts that has come to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Things that have been done, things that I see my sleep,
Right.
Yeah, visions that get in my sleep. I could vibrate myself to a higher level. I could do these things, but I gotta get more teachings about how to control, how to make the level higher. You know?
Tour. All right.
Tour.
All right.
So I really want to make it permanent and establish something firm with you, so I can get myself established firmly, and then I'll start spreading around Guyana.
Absolutely.
Start showing it out,
Yeah.
Especially to the Rastafarians and the Nyabingis and the Boba Shanti and the Boba, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You got to give that.
Live up to that kind of way.
Yes.
Huh?
You got to give them that right knowledge. Yes. I'm with you.
Yeah, and I'm it with them, because they have the knowledge. They were teaching me from since we small, the same way you've been taught, and we've been teaching, but in a different language, in a different way, if you understand me. Some of the sayings, we got it in a different terms, you understand me? Like how you say the different tablets in a different term,
Sorry, Zama, we got another caller trying to get through, so we'll deal with the one-to-one and take it from there. All right?
Good. On Thursday, I'm going to give you a call back Thursday, okay?
Okay, Wawe. Oh, greetings, caller. Rahubat. Where you calling from? What's your name and what's your question, please?
Hello.
Greetings, Rahubat. Greetings.
Hi, I was calling to speak with Ken when he's available. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing my best, Zamalta. This is Aken. How are you? And what's your name?
Oh, Zakian, how are you talking? This is Seven. I'm finally getting back to call you again. How have you been?
I've been doing my best, doing the works as much as we possibly can, and great to hear from you again, Seven. And
Thank you. You
yeah,
too. You
yeah, it's been a
too. So I
it's
just have a quick question. I just want to get your opinion and no one else's, just your opinion only.
okay.
But how do you feel about tuning rods? How do you feel about those, please?
Yeah, I mean they're one of our sciences, and but I must say, like, our opinions really are personal, and they don't. In Wu-Sabat, we try to stick to the teachings and the actual facts. But touring
Okay,
rods,
I'll deal with that.
they're really your energy, and again, that's something that, I mean, people utilize them, but you have to kind of like realize that it's your energy and you're really the person that's in tune, and like, okay, I guess if you had to make a decision and you were in a situation where you had no tools, nothing with you, none of those rods or anything, you would still have
Hmm.
to make a decision, right?
Right.
And that's going to come from you within. So a lot of times we we don't really like to look out to external forces for it, but
Hmm.
I don't want to really give my opinion unless it's a private one-to-one
Oh.
online. But I mean, I haven't really, I mean, okay, you can be misled by entities or other beings that will also influence the decision by
Okay.
influencing like the the outcome of what you're trying to find out. But you can also
Okay.
have positive, because you've got both agreeable and disagreeable ancestors that are working with you. So it's not 100% accurate all the time, depending on, who is influencing what's taking place. Now, if you are the one that is able to override anyone else's influence, as in, this is what Wu-Sabat is teaching you to say, look, at the end of the day, you have ancestors that are agreeable and disagreeable. You have influences or influences that are agreeable and disagreeable. And every decision, every thought you're having, you can either use your own mind, but you have to get to the point where you know it's your voice, not the other voices. And when you get to that
Oh.
stage, you don't need anybody else, because your true voice will be the one that you're aligned with, because you do have what we call your oversoul, right? That guides you. And it's about learning to guide yourself without the influences of rods or, any other thing. Although people will use it to help them, but I'm saying that in Wu-Sabat we really teach you to learn to know who you are, so that you make the decision. You're in control. You're in the driver's seat of all the personalities and all the voices that you're hearing. And you get to that by learning how to, you know, do the things that you need to do. And once you're doing that, you just automatically become aligned with your oversoul, and then you're in the driving seat. So it's almost like you get to a point where you're in autopilot, meaning like you're just living it. You're living it by way of your actions without making too much of an effort or having to consult anyone, because you are now in the driving seat, and that's
Okay.
the point to get to. Does that help?
Yes, that helped a lot, Sakin. And that leads me to my next question.
Tua.
So for me personally, like you said that how you have these other thoughts in your head. So for me, I do have other thoughts in my head that are disagreeable and agreeable, but it seems like sometimes it's not my thoughts. And I have to correct them and be like, why are you thinking about this? You know, it'd be the most bizarre stuff ever you could ever think about.
Yeah.
And I don't watch like, bad movies or I don't know, secular stuff as they would say, but
Yeah.
I don't understand. I don't know. I just want to control my thoughts more. Maybe you can tell me a good thing I can listen to meditate, to silence them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Again, remember what I was saying, that thoughts can be just like vibrating in the air. You tapping into the mental reservoir and pulling somebody else's thought, somebody next
Mm-hmm.
door passing you, or do you know what I mean? It could be from anywhere. And it's like
Yes.
you say, it's learning to recognize and be like, wait, why are you sending me that message? Why am I thinking this? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you silence it over time, like if you can, the practices that we've been given as a tool is label them. Like if you hear a particular voice, or
Oh, really?
yeah,
Okay.
label them even with colors. Like let's say it's a disagreeable thought, you call that red, and every time you hear that voice,
Oh.
you refer to that being as red. And then, you know, if it's an agreeable one, you could label it green. I mean, you can use whatever names, but I'm just using colors to make you think, okay, all right, that's red again. Can you just, you know, leave me alone, go away, I'm not interested. And eventually you overpower that personality or that being that is trying to lead you to do things that are disagreeable. And
Okay.
you could even label them if you really work out who it is. Like it could be grandma, great grandma, or Uncle Ted, or you know, you can get to learn
Mm-hmm.
about which are the personalities, and you can do that by finding out, going back 4 generations and building your family tree, and seeing
Okay.
like who's most likely to be thinking or doing this thing that like for example, if you're at the top and you're in control, and then you have your 2 parents, mother and father underneath you, then their mother and father, and go on downwards to your great grandparents, and then learn about each one of those people. Like what did they do when they were here? Were they kind? Were they mean? Were they agreeable, disagreeable? What kind of job did they do? Just learn so much about them. You're going to be able to
Okay.
realize when you're being influenced in a particular way, both positive and negative, that okay, that's why I'm good at sewing, for example, because great grandma was a seamstress, and she was very good at. You just kind of start to make the connections between the voices, and of course there are the foreign ones that have nothing to do with your personalities as well,
Mm-hmm.
that you can also label. But over practicing it and time, you'll be able to kind of establish and know your true voice from the voices of others. All right.
Okay. Yes, that helps, Ken. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. You're much appreciated, loved as well. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I won't hold you. And I'm gonna get a hold of these thoughts because it's so crazy. I'm like, yo, I know this is not me doing this.
Yeah. Another thing as well, quickly, is sometimes the what we eat also influences our thoughts. So
Okay.
yeah, like for
Okay.
example, if we eat animals that were being tortured when they were being on alive, their last kind of like
Um,
thoughts and moments will come in your dreams and your thoughts, etc. So sometimes it's
okay.
important to realize that the diet also has an effect on how we behave and what we think. All right.
Okay, yeah, thank you for that. And speaking on my diet, I have been doing away with meat. I'm trying to get off of fish too, so can, but
Yeah.
I've increased my vegetables and my fruits like the last past 3 months. And I know I told you I haven't had chicken since last year.
Yeah. That's good. Keep it up.
I'm not dealing with that, but once I get off of fish, I'll be okay.
To one. It's a work in progress. You can only do your best, but yeah, stay on it and you will be okay. All right.
All right, thank you, brother. Talk to you soon.
Take care. Wadu. Akros.
All right, bye bye now.
Um, does any of the scrolls mention Queen Khalifa of the Amazons and her man-eating griffins? Um, yeah, I mean, a lot of people say that's a fictitious character, and but I know that it's taken from an African tribe, the original story. but it's not in any of the scrolls as I can remember. But yeah, they've made it into a, like, you know, Chinese whispers, and they've made it into a fictitious story and all of that. So you might be getting the misinformation about her. But I do know there was an actual African tribe where they get the story from, and the whole kind of like, you know, superwoman story that comes from them being, you know, the Amazonians, if that's the right way to call them. But I don't recall any scrolls that mention Queen Khalifa. That's for Marcia Shears, all right? Let's keep going. Let me just do this one and then a voice after. A family member has found the teachings of the master teacher. He has completely changed his life to the way. He is married to a white woman and feels he needs a divorce. He feels like it's not himself. There's no question there, but that's personal to them and his decision to make whatever he feels is best for him and their personal situation. That's for them to decide. I mean, we don't know the intricacies of their relationship or anything like that. There's no real detail about anything and no question. So I'm not going to really tell people what to do with who they choose to love or whatever. They've got to read the scrolls and make the decision that is best for them. All right. So yeah, let's take the voice message, and then we'll carry on with the questions.
Rahobat, greetings second. I hope you're right, sir. This is Sipose Tumbutuma from South Africa.
Yeah, it's a bit low.
Please break down the 3 characters of Jesus Christ in the Bible, because I heard about Bar Jesus and also another character whom we...
Maybe we have to rewind that.
Rahobat, greetings second. I hope you're right, sir. This is Sipose Tumbutuma from South Africa. Sir, can you please break down the 3 characters of Jesus Christ in the Bible? Because I heard about Bar Jesus and also another character whom we all know as the person who has been crucified as Jesus Christ, which he was not, because we hear that Jesus had family. He had his own kids. He had his own family that he built himself, and then he died at a later age, not at the age of 33. Can you break all that down, sir, so that we can all understand? And yeah, thank you, sir.
Okay, Rahubat, I'm not going to spend too much time on it because we've done a whole video on this already, so you can find that video. But yeah, for those who are not familiar with it, the 3 characters in the Bible that are compiled into one story is Yeshua, who would be the son of Mary. He was a part of a 3-parent birth, because you have Mary, you have Joseph, and you had who they call the angel Gabriel involved in producing that child that people know in the Hebrew as Yeshua, which means savior. And then he himself was married and had children, okay? Mary Magdalene is one of his wives, and he had children, and he's the one that lived to be 120 years old, and he went back into Egypt because Mary was really from Egypt. And if you read and watch, I think we got 2 videos on this. We have the one called The Life of Jesus the Christ, etc. And then we did another one which focused on the real Jesus, or the 3 Jesus, or something like that. I'm sure we can find them and post them in the chat. So he had a son, and his son was known as Bar Jesus. The way people that don't know or study the language or take the time to research and break down the words, the word bar is actually not an English word. It's left untranslated, right, from the Semitic language. So what happens is when you're saying Bar Jesus, most people are not realizing that they're actually saying son of Jesus, okay? Because Bar, Ibn, Ben, these are the phonetics in terms of the word relating to son. So that was the son of Mary Magdalene. But that word Magdalene is a mistranslation, because you had an Egyptian who's the real Mary that got mistranslated as Magdalene, right? We did a whole video on this, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. And the third one is a person referred to as Cleophas, okay? Now, he is the son of Mark Antony, right? And Cleopatra? Yeah, Cleopatra. My brain just went blank for a minute. But yeah, so that's the being known as Cleophas. Now, they all lived pretty much separate lives, but they were also teaching and dabbled in like the Kabbalah and sorcery, and that's where you read in the Bible where it's saying that they found this person who is saying he's a Christ, but he's a sorcerer, and then he gets crucified. But there's a lot of information, that whole story, but like I said, we did a whole video on that. But those are the three Jesus's stories that are combined into one, and that's why sometimes when you're reading it, it's not making sense, because they've rolled three Jesuses into one. Now, when you go into the New Testament, this is dealing with the family of the Piso family, Joseph Flavius Piso and his family. They actually wrote plays, right, and acted the parts of the play they acted the different characters, and like it's like excuse me, it's like you write a play, but then you might have someone acting two parts, and they will go off and change off, put a costume on, and act the lines of that character. So yeah, so these are the three Jesuses that were written in, and then there's so much misinformation and confusion in tying the story of the real person and then the fictitious people, as well as the children of, you know, the real Yeshua. So there's Yeshua, Bar Jesus, and Cleophas, the son of Cleopatra and Mark Antony. But we've done videos on them, so I'm not going to dwell on it because, you know, time is of the essence. All right, so let's move on to the next question. Remember to vote. We're giving you these quick surveys. The polls in the chat, very useful to let us know where you're watching from, etc. Son of man, where do you find knowledge on Allah, the person he was, and all that? All of that is in the Holy Tablets, which has now expired, but you can still read it to learn that that story is really about Anu. I mean, we also have El's Quran, which is which goes into El's Quran is by Dr. Malachi Z. York, which gives you the actual facts. You can learn a lot about that person known as Allah. Allah, Elo, same word, Anu, that's who they're really talking about. Let's keep going. Simon Stern, with great power comes great responsibility. Absolutely. And that's such an important point, because each person, once you are activated and you're awake, you have the responsibility now to help save other souls and to save other people, and it comes with work. You have to constantly work on yourself and work together. That's why we say go and see the burden and the responsibilities of stores and people that run the stores and the different communities, and help is needed to do what they do. You can never really love or appreciate someone's position unless you're in their shoes. And sometimes it may seem, one of the sayings of the master is that anything that looks easy or simple, it's not. Because when you start to go into the detail and the layers, you see that it takes a lot of courage, commitment, and consistency. And that's how you know if somebody's really dedicated to doing something, not just like here today, gone tomorrow. You know, they're able to, you know, speak their truth and live it and stick to it, regardless of the challenges that may come. Kamika, can I fast whilst while breastfeeding? Yes, you can. However, you always have to firstly take into consideration the child, the karad. Yeah. If it's going to affect the child in any way, shape, or form, or your health, then we don't advise that. But yes, you can. In moderation. Nothing we do is extreme. All right. Rahubat Moisa. Hey, Rahubat Sakam Sanan Mantu Hatat. Good to see you. Helping and answering questions. That's one of our student teachers. Glad to see someone from Guyana. Yeah, there are other people in Guyana, Jamaica, Trinidad. It's good to link up with people and start study groups, work together, build a little community and grow it with the assistance of the center and ourselves. We will work to help you share Wu-Sabat. T. Chambers, tapping in from Pittsburgh, United States. You got a good ass channel, cuz. I like that. Thank you, T. Chambers. Good to see you. Help share it and spread it to others. Thank you. Tawat, thanks. More likes, more love. Yes, Mindful Genetics. I like the name, Mindful Genetics. Thank you. Okay, Maramir, I'm so appreciative of Saken and OSM. It's awesome to be able to ask any questions and someone actually have patience to answer to the best of their knowledge. I appreciate love. Maramir, you know, we always appreciate love you. You've been supporting from the... Yeah, let's just take a minute to really appreciate love and show everyone a shook that has been with us, you know, from the beginning, you know, and you know that consistency to stay and to constantly learn and grow is so much appreciate loved. And thanks for the support, thanks for every like, thanks for every share, thanks for subscribing, thanks for your donations. You know, we have so much work to do, and with your assistance and help, thanks for those who are, you know, supporting the 100 project, because it's also about building. It's not just talking, sharing information, which we will always do, but it's also about, you know, building. And there is a lot of work that we're doing. We, you know, building the studio so we can do more content continuously, and you getting involved and knowing that you play a part too. So we want to thank everyone who has ever supported us, supporting us, who shares the videos, etc. So yeah, just want to shout you out. And if you do want to help us, support us with things we're doing, join the Telegram group, contact us if you want to do a one-to-one, if you want to support any of our projects. I'm posting a link in the chat. You can do that. And yeah, just come and, you know, be involved. Participate. Don't only spectate. All right, let's keep going. Where are we? Where were we? Let's see. Yep, there we go. Rahubat, Trevor. Okay, next question. Okay, that's it. No more questions. Yeah, help us, support us by just sharing. You know, sometimes it's 2 seconds. We know there are so many people who watch and listen to our channel, but they don't necessarily speak. They're silent listeners, we like to call them. And we appreciate love you too. But, you know, do share and, you know, show us that you're obviously listening, you're obviously taking in the content. It takes nothing to hit a like or a share button, and we've actually covered all the questions in the chat, unless I've missed anything. If I have, repost your question, or if King, you see anything that I've missed, if you let me know.
Someone says, so the Christian community is following that Cleopatra story, a sorcerer, a magician. That's mixed into.
Yeah, that's a great question. And what's happened is you have this whole, like, what they call the New Testament is based on what they call the crucifixion, which is a crux or a fiction. Yeah, the cross. There's the word cross is crux. The cross fiction, because it didn't happen. It didn't really exist in the way that they teach it. And then you had this 13th self-appointed so-called disciple, because he's named Paul, right? Because Paul, if you read the books of Paul and his minions like Luke, his right-hand man, they basically wrote books about themselves, telling you that, like, Paul never met Jesus, but in one instance he tells you he had a vision. In another instance he tells you he met him on the road to Damascus. But Paul, the whole kind of like church was built on Paul, and it's like a lot of people quote Paul in Christianity, and Paul, like I said, he went against pretty much everything Yeshua was teaching, about not going to the Gentiles, about eating pork, about not keeping the Sabbath. There was so many contradictions with his writings and what he did. We actually got a actual scroll called Paul, Disciple or Deceiver. But yeah, one of the small scrolls that the master teacher part in the Babylonian put out many, many years ago, literally showing you all the contradictions that Paul basically taught. And a lot of that is where today people that choose a religion that they don't want to have any discipline, they don't want to, they basically want to do what they like, and they say that grace came through by way of the crucifixion, because they use the crucifixion to say that Jesus came and died for your sins, so now there's no sin in the world. But it's a complete contradiction, because there are sins in the world to this day, but people will just say they can do anything they like, but as long as they repent, then that's it, your sins are forgiven, which is not actually true. That's one of the ways of technology to trick you into not working to perfect yourself or to improve yourself, because it's so easy to put it on somebody else. Someone else is going to come and save you. Somebody else already died for your sins. Somebody else can take the responsibility. But in reality, it doesn't work like that. So you don't then work on yourself. Know that you are that God that needs to be able to transform yourself from the lower life, the lower nature of the animalistic nature, to being a supreme being, you see. So yeah, they're following the wrong, not just Paul, but the same thing happened in Islam, where you had the caliphs or the successors that were supposed to take over, like Ali, but instead it became Abu Bakr. And then you can go through every religion and you see where as soon as the person with the message left, it became disarray and people going in different directions. You look at the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, again, as soon as he was, he left this plane, divisions. You had the 5%ers, you have people that followed Farrakhan, you had other people that, followed his son, divisions. And it keeps happening, and we must not allow that to happen when it comes to Wu-Sabat. And the master teacher has ensured that, because everyone's on the same playing field, level playing field. You see, we all know the same and teach the doctrine that he has shared with us. So you're right that people get taken astray, even not realizing, like, for example, people are waiting for a Messiah, but they don't realize there's different types of Messiah. The word Messiah literally means anointed. And it tells you about an anointed cherub. The anointed cherub is the one that most people are going towards and waiting for, thinking that they're waiting for Jesus, not knowing the real Messiah is here. When you hear the real, we actually have another little scroll called the real Messiah. There's so many scrolls that teach you and let you know the right way, because why? There is an evil that is being perpetrated as the truth. And so you find there are false Christians, false Muslims, false, the supplanting of Jacob and Esau, that story, like that deals with people being led astray but not realizing, because the devil says he will make evil fair seeming. So you might think it's a good thing or a right thing to do, but not realize you're being taken astray. So that's a great point. Yeah, following fictitious characters. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Sakam Sanan Mantu Hata. Remember to share this video on your social media, whether there's WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever social media you use, you can share the video so we can get Wu-Sabat to more people and help them, liberate them from the chaos of Six Ether. Okay, any other questions, please feel free to ask. We have like 19 minutes left. And it was just 9:09 when I said that. It's 9:09, 9:09, and we have 19 minutes. So if you haven't asked your question yet, you still have now 20 minutes. I'm going the wrong way, innit? Yeah, but you have 20 minutes. Yeah, that's correct. It's 2010 now, so 21:10, so 9:10 in the UK. So if you have questions, put them in the chat or call the number. Yeah, call the number and you can ask live. Just to remind you of that number again, from outside the US is +44 753 996 3882. So you might just about get you might have the last say or the last question. So you still have the chance. And if you've been watching and you're like really nervous and thinking, I really want to call, I want to ask my question, but I'm shy, or, you can put it in the chat. But yeah, trust me, when you ask your question, we're very patient. We know that people are at different levels. So don't be shy. Call in if you would like to ask your question. Hopeful Hibiscus. If you are a mother after having 4 children, does having more than one miscarriage still consider you to be a mother when you only have one child? Of course, when you look at the word mother, when you break it down, it's M, other. Yeah? Because as a mother, you're the only one that can produce another or the other. Because you experience that, you actually, like, individually, unless you come across another person or bump into another person, you can only really confirm your own existence. But the mother grows the other being in her womb. And that takes, a process of most know 9 months. We know it's 12 months because things happen 3 months prior to that beginning of the 9 months. The 3 periods of 3 months each. So when you're saying M other, you are still a mother, because the M actually represents the mitochondrial DNA, especially if the other is a daughter. So you will pass your mtDNA or the mitochondrial DNA to that daughter. So I mean, the question, if you really read it again, if you are a mother after having 4 children, does having more than one miscarriage still consider you to be a mother when you only have one child? So the fact that you have a child is your mother. One child or 4 children still makes you a mother. All right? Yes, you are a mother. Okay, I'm just going to scroll through just to see if we've missed anything out. But I don't think so. Oh, I did miss something out. How, this is from Monoire. How did all province and countries get their names? We have a live caller. Live caller.
Hello, my name is Rosalind. I'm calling to ask the question of when a mother, when a child is born and the mother has a child right away after, like immediate, they get pregnant right after their first birth, and you're saying that it's not 9 months but 12 months. So how does that affect the second child in the womb, and could it be different fathers, or can that be proven if it's different fathers, or if it's so close, the two births? If that makes sense. If I
The first part doesn't really make sense in the sense of, you said she has a child and then she has another one straight after. That, I mean, I don't know if you're referring to having twins, because with twins that can happen. Now, in
right,
terms
I'm
of,
sorry. Yeah, that's my mistake.
Okay.
No, they're not twins, but separate. I don't know what they call that, but no, they're not. They weren't considered to be twins. Just one was a year older.
Okay, yeah, I mean, it's possible that you can get
But
pregnant.
it does.
Sorry,
But it doesn't have anything to do with that. What do you call the three?
The three-parent birth? Well, the three-parent birth does have something to do with it. I was about to go into that. Obviously, it depends on if it's with the same partner, because normally you're supposed, when you have a male's DNA, or when a male ejaculates inside you, that will be in your system for up to 7 to 9 years. So if you got pregnant immediately or quite soon after with somebody else, the previous partner is still within you. Their DNA is still within you. So this becomes a three-parent birth, because you have the mother's DNA and the partner that she was with, and because she didn't wait long enough to have the second child with another partner, the DNA of the three people get embedded within that person. And sometimes, when she has that second child with the new partner, other people will say the child looks like the first partner, and that's because the DNA is still there. It's still engulfed within hers and the new partners. That can happen. And sometimes, if they were to do a test, they may not find the new partners. It depends which DNA is predominant, because when they do the test, they're going to say they do it on they do it on the second parent, then it comes out like there's some other DNA. They're like, it's inconclusive. But on these shows, remember them shows like the Jerry Springer shows, they basically dramatize and sensationalize the thing to make people's emotions fly off the handle, and people say you cheated on me and all kinds of stuff, not fully understanding the science of a three-parent birth. But it's now is becoming something that scientists are actually admitting. But when the master was saying this years ago, they were saying he was crazy. But like everything else, eventually, it comes to pass that everything he says and teaches is on point. So yeah, the three-parent birth is becoming something that now is actually being spoken about openly in mainstream media.
So it's possible too that the two children could be twins.
It's also possible, yes. but one just developed quicker than the other, because you have identical twins and you have Siamese twins as well. So there are, rare occurrences where you don't have them both developing at the same rate at the same time, in terms of, even when you have twins, one still has to come out before the other, and normally it would be just slightly a time difference between the two, where one might come out a few seconds or minutes before the other. But there are the occurrences where that people call an I don't want to say it's not abnormal, but it's like where the difference or the delay can be longer from one than the other.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Fascinating. I mean, it's just incredible, these things that we're learning with Wu-Sabat. It's just mind blowing. But
Yeah.
like the caller spoke earlier, we're realizing, a lot of us, that we actually had insights of this throughout our lives, and it's actually being confirmed every time we read a book or participate. Yeah. So I think for me, it's really helped me and my balance of understanding myself, that, I didn't really understand where this information was coming from, that I was getting. And I read my first book like years ago. I still have that very first book that I found in Atlanta in the back of a bookstore, and it's almost in pieces. Yeah. And I spent years trying to locate, call the number that was on the book, and it's taken me almost like 15 years to find you. And it was like one of the callers too, that it came up on my timeline one day.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Cool.
Bye.
Thank you all for all your questions. All right. Okay, so we have... wait a minute. Is my clock wrong? What's the time on yours?
9:20.
Did I say that like 10 minutes ago? I'm sure.
9:09.
Oh, 9:09. Okay, I must have got it wrong. I said 19 minutes. Okay, cool. We got 10 minutes now. 9 minutes. It's 9:09 now. 21:21. So we got 9 minutes left. That's the 3 9s lining up. So yes, you still got an opportunity to ask your question. You can either call in or send it by text. Okay, yeah. It looks like your glass is full. But Wu-Sabat is a journey that you never stop learning. And this is why we can continuously keep growing and moving in degrees. And others can only take you so far, which is fine, but it's a stepping stone, and your final destination is Wu-Sabat. And you just have to apply it and give it a chance, in terms of have an open mind, actually study and read, because some people, they just like hearsay. They just want to go by other people. They want other people to do the work. They want other people to read the books. You can read the book yourself. Of course, if you cannot read, we still read some of these books on video so you can listen, but either way, you have to do the work. We tell you as it is. We don't give you no fantasies like you just get dipped in water and you're born again and your sins are forgiven and now you're going to heaven. No, we tell you the actual facts, like explain it. Where is heaven? Where are you going? How do you know you're going there? How are you going to get there? We go into the detail. It's all in the detail, and people don't take the time to dissect things. They want you to just accept and follow something that makes no sense. And it's like you want to go somewhere, you have a destination. Let's say you've got a ship or a boat and you want to go somewhere. You need to know where you're going. You need to know, you need a compass, you need a crew, you need a captain, You need to know the weather. You need to know where you're going to get to that destination. If you just push the boat with no destination, with no crew, with no captain, with no direction, it's probably just going to sink. If it probably won't even get very far from the minute you release the anchor. It's like there's nowhere it's going, you know. So a lot of people blindly follow the blind, and how can you follow someone who doesn't know where they're going, you know? So with Wu-Sabat, we make it very clear. We make it clear so you know exactly what to expect, what your part of it is, what you need to do. You have to work on yourself. You know, you have to exercise, you have to eat healthily, you have to do the work, the meditation, the mindfulness, the treating people, you become God and goddess. It's not just sounds nice, I'm a god, but you've got to do godly things, you've got to achieve things, you've got to put in the work, you know. So just wanted to say that, you know, we're not just a make you feel good type of religion where you go to church, you dance, you get worked up, you sing the songs, hit tambourines, and then what these holy roller churches, like, where someone might catch a Holy Ghost and they start the dancing, but then others then start to compete because they're like, if I don't act like I've got it too, then maybe I'm gonna be looked at as I'm not as spiritual as that person, not knowing what's going on, not knowing that's a possession by this embodied disagreeable entity. And now they start acting and they start the dance, and then the next person catches it, and then before you know it, you got a bunch of people. Some are lying to themselves, some are really being possessed, and then they talk all this stuff that they say speaking in tongues, and they don't understand what they're saying or who is saying it or who's giving them the message. Then they have to go to someone else to interpret it who has no clue what that language is, and they can make up stuff. That language is known as gibberish because it's the fusion of entities with the physical body that they want to utilize to live in this world and experience the physical world, because they're no longer able to do that without a body. And you become you're in discomfort. No Holy Spirit, not Holy Ghost, no Holy Spirit would take you and throw you on the floor or have you foaming out the mouth or in an uncomfortable state where you look like you're having a convulsion, like you're not in a harmonious, peaceful state. The comforter is a comfort, it's not a discomfort. So I'm just saying that to say Wu-Sabat is real. Okay, we've got a question. May well be the last question for today. It says from Julie Hanavig. What's your view on Afro-Brazilian religions such as Umbanda, Kumbanda? The minute I hear the word religion, as you know, Wu-Sabat, we don't really deal with religion like that. We deal with a culture which is tied to nature, as in animism. We are animist. A lot of different cultures will practice religions in any way that they've been taught based on where they are. But we don't really subscribe to religion. So when you say what's my view, again, it's not about my views. It's not Wu-Sabat doesn't deal with the views. It deals with the actual facts and what, like, the question that you ask. But if you don't ask a question, you're just like, what's your view? It's like, my view doesn't really matter, to be honest. You follow? So if there's a specific thing about what you want to know, just ask. And but yeah, we don't really deal with, we don't, whatever religion it is, we don't really subscribe to it. Most religions, they do have some roots in Africa, in terms of everything goes back to Africa, or a part of Africa if it's Egypt and so on. But most of the religions, they try to blend our ancestors' way as animists plus the European or the Arab influences in their way. And it's just like another version of a, there are many religions every day that are being formed. And Christianity, they will tell you, go back to the roots of Catholicism, Catholics. The Catholics, if you hear the word, they're dealing with the cat. The cat. You say, what's the cat? That cat is the Sphinx. And it's the holistic science of the cat. So you're saying Catholic, or the holistic science of the cat. And that, if you start to go into the details of that, they're dealing with really all religions. Western religions are coming from ancient Egyptian, and that's dealing with the Sphinx. That's the cat that they're talking about, cat holistic, the holistic science of the cat, the worshipping of the cat. But as we say, the science goes deeper back into ancient Egypt, where you're dealing with the order of Hathor, you know, dealing with the feline order. But that's a deeper meaning and a deeper breakdown, which, you know, the sisters in Wu-Sabat, by way of the sisterhood, will go into more detail for the feline. And it's important for the females to get involved with the feline order of OES. Malik Briggs, thank you. Very last minute, we're about to close. Thank you for your donation. We appreciate love you for that. I don't see a question.
How to straighten your
How to straighten your mind. We have the book, The Mind. That's the first step. Read that book, The Mind. All right. But there are practices, which is the ability to be able to abstain and control your mind from the thoughts that are telling you to do disagreeable things. The ability to stay disciplined and do the things that make you better, even though it may take time for you to kind of like get used to it, but you stick with it. All right. But the mind, definitely. Can we glimpse your t-shirt before you go, please? Of course. That's the last part. You see it? And we have it available. You can get it from the shack.co.uk, the store. And yeah, there's always a way. If you anything you want, and this is the final point before we go, you have a responsibility for you to find your way home and to find the truth. So you may call and not get through, then send an email. If you can't get through on the email, make sure you get on the calls. If you can't, join a class. If you can't, you know, there's so many ways that we're accessible. But don't give up. You can fill out an application and don't receive anything. Don't leave it there. Call up, ask what's going on. And then sometimes things move quicker for you. So you also have a responsibility in terms of, you know, don't put it on somebody else. Like, if you sent me a message, for example, I may not see that message for 2 weeks because I may be busy, I have other things, and don't let that deter you. There are many things that may, you know what I mean, get in the way, but you have to be persistent. You have to know that this is what you want. It's the truth, and it's something you want, you will find a way. So we want to appreciate love all of you for tuning in today, for supporting the channel, OSM. Like, share, subscribe, and definitely watch all the videos. Keep watching them, because the more you watch them, the more you pick up, the more you learn. And with that, I want to say Tawakum to the master teacher, Partner Babyanun, Dr. Malachi Z. York, first of all, because without him, none of this would be possible. The freedom fight is still definitely going on. It's mentally, it's spiritually, it's physically, it's financially, it's fought in all different aspects, and your help and contribution is very much welcome. So tune into our Telegram group, and until next week, same time, same place, Wadu Mwesar.